Hey guys, I feel like it's been a little while since I hopped on. It's been a pretty busy season. We've been trying to prepare for Caleb and get some projects done, and I'm actually in his room right now, and Josh just finished the wood wall, and we've got the dresser and the crib put together, and this chair. I've been trying to come in here a lot and pray and think about, Caleb coming, and it'll be here before we know it. And so some things that, you think about as a parent is he going to be like Peter? Is he going to be like Zeke? Will he look like the boys? Will he have darker hair? And just the fun things that you think about when you prepare for a new one. And one thing I really started to think about was the fact that I have all these questions, but God already knows. God already knows what Caleb's purpose is. He already knows what he's bringing him into this world for, and I believe it's for big things. I believe all of my kids have a reason and a purpose, just like we all do. As believers, we do believe that. John 3:16, and that verse came flooding to me this morning as I was sitting here and I was praying over him and just a little life that we're about to bring into the world. And I've shared with you guys before that scriptures can kind of go over our head, and I feel like this is one of them. But this scripture meant a lot to me when I became a new mom. For any parents out there, you guys know when you have a little one that when they come into this world, your whole life changes. You have this little human being who's relying on you for everything. And whatever your passions were prior to having a baby, because one of my passions was to become a mom, and it was to be a wife, and it was to have a family. And while all those things were something that I desired and I would have loved to do, and obviously that happened for me, and I was very thankful and I was blessed, and I had felt very highly favored in those moments that I was married and having my first son with my husband, and we felt very blessed. And when Peter came, like I said, everything changes. You have this little human being who needs you. And so, okay, we need to go out there for a little bit. Peter. Well, you can come say hi, and then you need to go. Sure. Don't touch it, though.
Hi, Shalom.
Hi, and Shalom.
Jesus loves you.
That's very nice. Thank you, buddy. And you gotta be quiet because Zeke's sleeping, okay? All right, I love you.
Do you know what I can do?
What?
No, you know what I can do.
Yeah, you can finish watching your show, and then Mommy's gonna come out there and we're gonna finish our school, okay?
But can I go outside?
In a little bit. You need to get dressed for the day and stuff first. You know the rules. Yeah. All right, love you. And so, anyway, picking back up, mentioning Peter, he comes in, but when we had him, everything changed, and all of the things that I was used to or used to having the time to be able to do, I felt like I could no longer do. I had that mom guilt, I need to be here. I can't let anybody else watch. And we had family who would come over for dinner and stuff, and they would see that I was tired, and they would say, why don't you go take a nap? Like, why don't you go rest? Like, we will watch him, we'll hold him. And I just was like, no, I'm good, thank you. I would have a little bouncer seat in the bathroom, and if I was showering, he was right there. Like, there was just no moment where I felt like I didn't have, this little blessing with me. But as a mom, you can go through some things, and as any parent, though, like, it's not just women. I think that is kind of misunderstood, because yes, postpartum depression is real, and all the hormones is 100% real. I experienced that with Peter, but fathers can go through it too, because your whole life's uprooted too, and so there's both of you that are going through this, and that can weigh on your marriage and just and everything. And so we had Peter, and I just started to feel like I didn't know what my purpose was anymore. I felt like so guilty for thinking that, because I prayed and I always prayed that I would have healthy children, and that I would be able to have a family. That was just like something I always prayed for. And so I felt guilty, like, am I not being grateful for this blessing? And so as I had those thoughts, I really started to pray every single morning, and I said, God, like, I'm gonna have a good day, like, you are with me, I am whole, because I just started feeling a little off. And as the hormones did settle, I started to feel better and all of that. But as the months progressed, I did feel like what is my purpose? Is my purpose just to be here to chase a little one around and to wipe, diapers and change kids and, constantly go through the motions? And while I enjoyed being a stay-at-home mom so much, and I was blessed to be able to do that, I felt like I lost myself in it a little bit. I thought, and I talked to my dad about this, and my husband, and I had told him, I said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what God has for me. It says he has a plan and a purpose for me, but what is that? Like, I know I'm a mom, but what am I supposed to be doing? Because I don't feel like this is it. And then we, fast forward a few years, and we had Zeke, or we were pregnant with Zeke, and we were so excited to have another little one, and we found out it was a boy, and we were so excited, and Zeke comes, and he was feisty. At first, we thought he would be the mellow one. Let me tell you, we thought, oh my goodness, we got the mellowest baby. And then with his RSV, like, that little boy was a fighter, and thank God he was, because he's here with us today. But he's feisty and ornery, and he's given mommy a run for her money and stuff. And so, again, you kind of have those feelings of, I felt like I was kind of getting more involved in ministry before Zeke came, and that I was just kind of having these goals and passions that I could see when Peter was in school, and, what I would want to do, where I would want to put my energy in. Because as I say to my mom, you kind of think, well, what are you going to do when your kids are in school? You can't just sit at home, right? You can't just clean the house and cook and whatever else. You have to go out and do something for you and to pursue your passion. And so Zeke came, and I kind of had those same kind of feelings again of, God, what do you have for me? I know that I'm a mom and I'm a wife and all of those things, but what do you have for me? I just want to see, the future. What is there? Like, I know you have plans to prosper me, and I know that you're going to give me hope in the future, but what does that look like, God? And I just kind of felt like I was in this gray area for a long time of what I was supposed to be doing, and really where my passion was at. And something I've learned is that sometimes we can get sidetracked. We can get so busy being a mom that we kind of forget to take care of ourselves. I know I'm not the only one. And even dads, we can get so busy with helping our spouse and our kids, we can kind of get sidetracked of what's our passion. We can still do both, and you don't have to have guilt. We can balance our life and still do things for ourselves, because that makes us a better parent. And I believe anyway, when I take some time for myself and when I dig deep into the Word, that I get to be the best mom to my kids that I can be. And I notice when I'm not, my patience is completely gone, and my dad will give me this look like, honey, take a minute, breathe. And so does my husband. And that's how I know it's my cue that I need to kind of take some time for myself, refresh. And so as I was beginning to think about these things, I thought about, where God's kind of put me in. And I've always had a heart for marriages and for kids and for women. I've always had that. And I would say the women aspect was more when I became a mom. I just felt like God had taught me a lot through that, with going through postpartum depression with Peter and all of those things. Like, my heart just kind of really softened a lot, and I really wanted to pour into other moms. And so that's kind of where I think that desire came from. But I always had that heart for ministry and counseling and whatever that looked like. And I enjoyed singing. I sang at my dad's church all the time. And then there was a need really for the kid wing. You guys know in churches that can be one of the areas you kind of lack volunteers in. And so it's something I took over because I love kids and I went to school for that. And so I really wanted to pour into that as well. But you can't do it all. I've learned that. You can stretch yourself so thin. And I've learned that. But something I've learned is that sometimes we can get sidetracked. It's okay. And to get I want to make sure I'm communicating that properly, but I've gotten sidetracked in my life with being a mom or with pouring into another area because there was simply a need for it. It might not have been my passion, but it was because it was a need, and I wanted to be able to do that because I knew that I had the ability to do it. But then you get so used to it that you forget where God kind of led your heart. And I want to encourage you today, guys, if you're wondering or you're sitting there today thinking, all I am is a mom. All I do is go to work and I come home and I cook and I take care of my kids, or all I do is just whatever you feel like. If you feel like you're stuck in that same routine and it's burning you out, where you just have no fumes left and you just feel like you're drowning, or that you just can't do anymore, or you instantly wake up and you're just kind of defeated because you just don't want to do it because you already know what to expect for the day. If you're having those feelings, you're not alone. But I want you to really think about what that scripture actually means. He already knows what our plan and purpose is. But I think we have free will. So we have the free will to decide whether we're going to walk in that, keep our eyes on Jesus, and we're going to walk in that. And if we all walked in our anointing and where God has given us a heart in, and we stopped getting so distracted by what somebody else was doing, and don't compare yourself today. Do not compare yourself to that coworker of yours who might seem like she has it all together. Don't compare yourself to the person that you sit by in church and she has 5 kids and she always has her hair done and, you know, she looks great all the time and she has a fit body. Don't compare yourself. That it doesn't do anything for us. You know, her plan is different from your plan, or his plan is different from yours. Don't compare yourself to that man that you work with who has that big country house that's your dream home. Start speaking that for yourself, and honestly, get advice. You know, when I find myself like a little bit envious of, wow, how'd they get there? They're so young, or, you know, I ask questions. I'm like, girl, what'd you do? You know, and you can learn from things. But the reality is we all are different and we're created different because God had He intended us to be different so we could all reach different things in the kingdom. You know, I can't reach everybody out there in the world. You can't. But together we can. And if we just focused on the purpose that God had for our lives and walk in that, the churches would be different. The schools would be different. Everything would be different. Our kids wouldn't be out there saying these horrible things. They learn that from us, guys. They look up to the parents. If a kid's saying that, you can't look at that kid like, can't believe he just said that. That's what he's been taught. And if we just all walked in our purpose and ask God to show us that, because he will show you that. And he will give you peace. Stop feeling like we have to be stuck in it. If you're having those feelings, pray. Go to God. Ask him. God, please give me the peace for one in the waiting. Because sometimes our thing isn't instant, but he can give you that instant peace. You can get peace today. And you can start walking and saying, God, I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what my path looks like. It might not be in ministry. It might not be in women's ministry. It might not be in the kid wing. But he has something for you to do. And guys, sometimes it's simply going and smiling at somebody who's had the worst day. Or when you simply pay for somebody's Starbucks or just whatever it is, it uplifts them. Or when you have the heart, guys, seriously, I can't tell you how many times that I'm at a restaurant and I literally feel like I'm about to lose my mind because the kids are being atrocious. Sometimes I don't even take them out in public, okay? Because I'm like, it has not been a good day. I know if I take them to a restaurant, I'm going to be looked at like this horrible mother because I'm using my mom voice and my kids aren't sitting and they're crawling all over the restaurant floor and whatever it looks like. And I know for a fact that this is a ministry. When God gives you that certain heart that you can go over to that mother and tell her, it's okay. I have been there. That's a gifting. That's a heart for others that not everybody has. Not everybody will notice that mother in distress at a restaurant. Doesn't mean that we all don't have that heart to love, but it just means that God might give you a different avenue, a different perspective for somebody. You might notice things that I don't notice. You know, when I go to a restaurant, that is one of the things I notice is when a mom's struggling. I'm like, girl, I have been there. I am right there with you. And I want to go pay for her meal. I just want to go hug her because I'm like, I understand these days and you feel like you have failed in every avenue and you just wanted to take your kids out to lunch and you just wanted to have a minute that you could just sit down and not have to cook or have the mess in your home. But now you went out and you have the stress and anxiety of the fact that your kids are running loose and everybody's going to look at you like this horrible failure. So I get it. But even then, God, that could be your gifting when you reach out to people like that and you have that heart, or when you're in line and you can just notice when somebody has pain in their eyes and you can just tell them, God loves you. Guys, those are all giftings. If we would all just start walking in that, stop comparing ourselves to the person behind us or next to us or that we work with or that we know, even in our family. We could do that even within our family. My sister, man, she has this, this, and this. I don't understand. Why am I so different? Like, we literally share the same blood, you know? It could be anything. we could compare ourselves to our parents, you know. If for the longest time I always said that I wanted to be just like my dad, and I always felt like I had a lot of his characteristics, good and bad. And I hope Dad sees this video, because he knows we are a little spunky and we say what we feel in a lot of seasons, and that sometimes it's good or bad, and the delivery might have been a little off. And so, but my dad, I always looked up to him. You know, as I grew up, he always had the best heart, and I had always seen that when we were driving somewhere, he would always notice the people that were hurting. Something that, you know, as a little kid, you really don't notice. And I see that a lot in Peter. I see his heart for people. He'll notice people. Or when we stop somewhere and he'll see somebody who's struggling, he wants to give them his shoes or his clothes. He's 4. He already has that heart. And my dad was always like that too. And when I was little, I always saw that. And I was like, man, I really want to be like my dad. My dad was my best friend. You know, when you're little, I said all the time, my mom always told me, honey, you can't marry your dad. But I always said, man, I'm going to marry my dad, because he was my best friend. I just looked up to him. He was just my little hero. Like, I just loved my dad. When he was in the business world and he would have to get up at 1 a.m, there I was sitting on the couch to make sure I could give my best friend a hug before he left. I always had that relationship with my dad, and I just looked up to him. My mom always told me, honey, and I mean, at 4 years old, you know, Peter, if he says he wants to marry his mom, that is the best compliment. And as an adult, you know that, obviously, but little kids don't know that. And so I always said that about my dad, because he taught me so much. And I always said that I just want to be just like my dad. And then there was this woman who came to my dad's church, and she spoke over me, and she said, you don't need to be exactly like your dad. You know, God has a purpose and a plan for you. And it kind of hit me. I was like, well, that's true. But I just loved everything my dad did in ministry. And while we're similar, we're very different. And it's for a reason. And so my dad, he is so knowledgeable in the prophecies and end times. Like, when I'm reading the Bible, I'll call my dad and be like, Dad, what does this mean? Because I can't comprehend it as well as others. Or it kind of passed over my head, and I'm like, Dad, what does it mean by they're giving birth to this? And he's like, well, honey, that's Israel that they're referring to. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, my dad's very gifted in that. And that's not where my gifting is at, but my gifting is different, and I can reach somebody my dad might not be able to. And so you can too. So don't compare yourself, because God made us different. Walk in that. Be thankful for that. But if you felt this week like, and I do, like I said, I do have a heart for moms. And if you're a new mama, or you are struggling, or even if you're not a new mom, but you have 3 kids or whatever it looks like, and you feel like you've been just stuck in raising kids, and that's all you're doing all the time, and that you're tired, and that you feel guilty for even having those thoughts, don't feel guilty today. No, you're not alone. Know that God has so much for you, and that you are being the best mama to those boys or those girls that you can be. But just remember, take some time for yourself. Ask God to show you what he has for you, because it is more than being a mom. You can be the best mom, and we get to pour into our littles, and we get to raise the next generation, which is a huge blessing. But it doesn't mean that that's our only thing. And while I love my boys so, so much, they can drive me up a wall. And I feel like I lost myself at moments of being a mom. But that's okay, because God's always been there, and I've always been able to tell God, okay, God, you know I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm failing at the only thing that I'm doing, and it's okay. You're not failing. Take some time for yourself today. Take some time to love on you. Get away for a little bit. Get in your word. Go drive. Like, sometimes I literally will take the boys and I will drive specifically during a nap time, just to get the coffee or a tea or whatever to kind of like get me going, and pour back into myself a little bit. And I'll listen to that praise music or just whatever it is. But you're not alone, and you're not failing. You are not failing today. No matter what you're going through, you're not failing. Just remember that Satan wants to make us feel like we're failing. He wants to make us feel like, well, see, the one thing you do you're not even good at. You've yelled at your kids 8 times this morning. It's only 8 o'clock. See? You just can't even amount to anything. He wants to make you feel those things. He wants to bring defeat the instant we wake up. If he can make us feel that at 8 o'clock in the morning, he's won. But like I've said before, he doesn't get to have our day. I was having a day the other day, and Rosemary told me, she's like, Allie, you get to start your day over any time. So I don't care if it's 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock, and your kids are about to go to bed. It is not too late to start your day over. It is not too late to take authority over your day. It's not too late to tell your kids, I love you, and I'm sorry that I've been grumpy. Take time for yourself today, because it's important, guys. We get to be the best version of ourselves when we take that time for ourselves. Don't go in your workplace tomorrow feeling defeated. Don't go in there with that heaviness because you work in an environment where people are just rude and everybody's just been hateful and it's dragging on you. You know, if somebody said this to me this week, and it actually applies here. If I went to another country, I might pick up an accent, right? Because I'm around it. If I traveled for months, I might come back talking a little different. I might have something a little bit different in my voice, because that's what I was around. That's what I'm consumed with. And so you pick up on those things. If you're around a negative workplace, you will instantly feel it in your spirit. And if we're not careful, and if we do not guard ourselves, we will become just like that coworker that we sat there the first couple weeks thinking, why is she so bitter? What is wrong? And then you found yourself feeling that same way. It's because we have not guarded our hearts, and we have become just like that because we're surrounded by it. And it's easier to become negative than positive when you're around it. It's harder for somebody to pick up on your positivity than it is for us to pick up on their negativity. Just like it is when it's easier for me to gain weight than it is to lose weight. I wish it was the opposite, but it's not. It's easy to do the things that would drag us down. It's hard to do the things that keep us uplifted. So guard yourself. If you're in a negative environment, or you feel like you've been struggling, or you're counseling somebody or pouring into somebody and they're going through it, before you go help them, make sure you guard yourself. Make sure you are prayed up, and make sure your cup is full. You cannot run on empty today, friends. You have to make sure that you're poured into. The other day, I just knew I needed a day. I called one of my best friends and I said, I literally feel like I'm drowning. I need somebody to give me a few of their seconds of a day. I need somebody to pour into me. And it's okay to ask somebody for that, somebody you can trust, and say, listen, I can't do it anymore. I'm barely functioning. I need some time from you today. I need you to remind me. I need you to pour into me. I need my cup full because I'm running on empty. I'm waking up and I'm not being patient. I'm already upset. I'm upset with everybody, and it's okay. Ask somebody, call somebody today that you trust. Pray, and you ask them, can I have a few seconds of your day? Can you just pour into me? Can you speak life into me? And I want to speak life into you today because God has so much for you, and I hope my thoughts got out there. I know I go off on these things, but I was just sitting in here and I was thinking about Caleb, and I was thinking about all the things that God knows he's going to do with this little boy, and I'm so excited to meet him. And while there is so much to be done, I had found myself being so stressed by, we still need a car seat, we still need strollers, and we still need this, and this, and we're starting over, and are we going to be okay? Do I remember the little things with newborns? Do I remember where I put what in what drawer? And I was like, why am I getting so consumed by the little things that will work itself out? And why don't I just take a few minutes to focus on the fact that there's a little boy coming into this world, and he's already here, he's already alive. And God already has a purpose and plan for him. And I already feel connected to him, But we're going to be bringing this little boy home, and we're going to get to pour into him. And I just wanted to sit in this room this morning. I just wanted to pray over this room. I wanted to pray over him. I just wanted to speak life into this atmosphere that he's going to be coming into. And when I did that, my mind just started to go on that verse of, God already knows what this little boy is going to do. It does not mean that if God doesn't come, which I believe, that I will not see Caleb or any of my boys being grown. I don't believe that. And I surely hope not, honestly. I really don't. And I never thought that I would say that at a young age. There were moments I'm like, God, please, why are you not here yet? Why have you not come? I never thought I would be at that point at a young age, and it's okay if you're not, but, and I don't mean like that you're not looking forward to the Lord coming, but if you've had fears or doubts, don't twist my words, because I know people do that, and I've gotten some messages on that. But what I mean by that is I had anxiety with that before too, but God will take that from you, and you'll be okay. And if you can't read Revelations yet, that's okay too. You'll get there. I just now in the last year been able to really read about the end times and the season we're living in, because I don't have that fear and anxiety. But if you do, God will work on you. Ask him. He'll take it from you. He'll reassure you. But I was just really thinking, and I don't know how long we'll have with Caleb. I don't know how big he'll be when God comes. Nobody knows. But I do know that he will, if he did get older, he will face things in his life. He will go through things just like we do. And we have to teach our kids right now, even Peter, to guard yourself. When Peter's having a bad day, even my 2-year-old, he picks up on Peter's attitude. And he'll be like, I'm so angry. The other day, he told Daddy, I forget exactly how he words it because he doesn't say it exactly right, but he goes, I'm so angry at me, Daddy, or I'm angry at you. And he doesn't know how to communicate it, but he just knows that he's heard Peter say, I'm angry. And I've tried to remind my son, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. But it's how we take it out. It's how we go about it. So let's take a moment and let's pray. And you know what my son does back to me when I'm upset and I'm angry and I'm frustrated? He goes, Mommy, it's okay to be angry. But it's how we go about it. And I needed that reminder. Just yesterday, I literally thought I was going to lose my mind. Everything was going wrong and just little things. And I just was so over it. And I already woke up feeling empty and just drained and exhausted and just everything. And it took somebody, my 4-year-old, to tell me, Mom, it's okay to be angry. But it's how we go about it. And I was like, I can't believe you said that to me. And my pride kind of got in the way a little bit. And I was just like, you can't talk to me like that. Like, I'm your mom. I told you that. But I didn't say that. I just looked at him and I smiled, and I walked away into my room, and I really kind of meditated on that, like what my kid just told me. It's okay to be angry, Mom, but it's how we go about it. So, guys, it's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to be exhausted. Guys, I'm tired. I'm sure you could see it. I'm tired. I didn't try to get myself all ready and whatever just to get on a video, because I didn't plan on getting on a video. I had just planned on getting on in this room and just taking time. But I wanted to get on here because I know that I'm not the only one who's had those moments or struggles, and it will not be the last time. But I just want you guys to dwell on that scripture, because he knows. He knew us in our mom's womb. He knows Caleb. If you have a baby and you're pregnant, he knows your baby. He knows the plans and purposes that he has for your child. He knew that for us too. And that didn't mean that we weren't going to face trials or tribulation. It didn't mean that, but it just means that we're going to guard ourselves, and we're going to walk in that, and we're going to look forward to and speak that scripture over us. He has a purpose and a plan for you, to prosper you. Literally to prosper you and to not harm you. God doesn't have anything that's going to harm us. That he didn't make a plan that we would fail or that we would be depressed or anxious. And while life brings those things, that's not what God intended for us. And I really, I eventually think my sister will come on to my dad's channel, or even mine, or whatever. She struggles with depression, anxiety. You guys know that. But when I first talked with Lindsay, I didn't have any understanding of that. And like I said, when I had Peter, I got that a little bit more, but I wasn't as loving. My response wasn't as loving to her, because I never walked through that valley. I never had a depression. I never had anxiety. And I would look at her and I'm like, we had the same family. We had the same childhood. Like, why do you feel like this? And why am I okay? Like, I just didn't understand it, and I just thought, are you just speaking this over yourself? And she didn't. The world wants to pile that onto you. The world wants you to be depressed. It wants you to be anxious. That's not what God has for us. He does not want us to feel overwhelmed or anxious. He does not want us to have those thoughts of not being here. He does not want us. That's harmful. That's not what God has. He has things to prosper us. Guys, we have something to look forward to for our future. For he knows the plans he has for us. And that's something I just want you guys to really think about today, is that if you're going through something, just know that while we might be going through something, while we might be in a little season, we get to start our day off whatever we want. We get to restart our day. Rosemary taught me that the other day. She told me, she said, Allie, something I have learned is no matter what time of day it is, and guys, it was late. It was like 3 o'clock. I'm like, okay, well, most of my day is gone. I've had a bad day. But she said, you get to decide if you're going to start your day over. And I did get to decide that. And so no matter what time of day you're watching this, you get to decide if you're going to start your day over. And really think about the fact that God has things to prosper you. He wants you to have life to the fullest. Start speaking that over yourself. If you're in an environment, like I had mentioned before, guard yourself. Start praying that your positivity can be such a light that it drowns out the negative. Because guys, it takes a lot of prayer and a lot of effort to be able to reach somebody who's in a trial, in the busyness of life that's so negative that it literally impacts everybody around you in a workplace, right? It takes a lot of positivity to reach that person. It takes a lot of fruits to be exemplified to reach that person to where they get out of their negativity and become the positivity where you're at, right? It takes a lot. It doesn't take a lot for us to get their negativity, but it takes a lot for them to get our positive. It takes a lot for them to be able to get to where we're at today. And all it takes, though, is for us to show them Jesus, for us to show them the love of God, and to exemplify that, because it will just radiate. It'll be that huge light. Guys, we don't even have to try. When we have Jesus in us and we speak that, we guard that, it'll radiate. And that will be enough in any kind of environment that you're in, whether it's busyness of kids or busyness in a workplace or in your church, no matter what it is, in your family. Guys, families can be crazy. My family's crazy sometimes too. I get it. But if we guard ourselves, if we say, God, I want to be such a light for you, Jesus, then that's all it takes. But it takes that light to drown out that negativity. But if we don't have that, if we don't guard ourselves, it takes nothing for that negativity to sweep us and to take us down with them. So I just wanted to get on here this morning. And I didn't plan this video. I didn't even know what I was going to say. But I just want you to know that just like God knows what he has for Caleb, he already knows what he has for you. Let's start walking in that. Remind yourself, be the light today. We get to start our day over. No matter what we've gone through, no matter how many times that kid spilled milk, juice everywhere, it's okay. We get to start our day over. So be encouraged today, friends. Be the light. And just smile today. Just smile and guard ourselves. And do not let the negativity of the world impact you, because it's easy for that. But just remind yourself, God has a purpose and a plan, and he is here to prosper us, not to harm us. So focus on that today and have a very blessed day.